The Fascism Paradox. They say freedom dies with a bang. Armies marching, flags waving, crowds chanting in unison. But the truth is far more dangerous. Freedom dies with a whisper. It dies with applause. It dies when people trade liberty for comfort, not realizing they're building their own cage. This is the Fascism Paradox. Fascism rarely announces itself. It doesn't arrive in jackboots overnight. It doesn't always come draped in flags or shouting from podiums. It often begins quietly, like a promise of stability, a promise of safety, a promise that life will finally make sense again. Because here's the reality, people don't usually choose tyranny. They choose relief. Relief from corruption, from chaos, from division, from endless uncertainty. History shows us the pattern. A society begins to fracture. The economy feels unstable. People stop trusting their leaders, their neighbors, sometimes even themselves. They grow tired of the noise, of the endless shouting matches between opposing sides. And in that exhaustion, a dangerous thought takes root. Maybe what we need is someone strong enough to cut through it all. Someone who will finally take control and make things right. At first, it feels good. The new leader promises unity. The new laws are strict, but they bring order. Criminals disappear and you're told it's for your safety. The troublemakers, the ones who question, who protest, who resist, are silenced. And you tell yourself, maybe society is better without them. The leader's power grows, checks and balances shrink, but you trust them because they've delivered what they promised: calm, order, stability. But here lies the paradox. The more freedom you give up to escape disorder, the more disorder grows in secret. The more you silence dissent to protect unity, the sooner your own voice will be silenced. Because fascism doesn't just control chaos, it creates it. It feeds on division, even as it promises unity. It builds enemies out of neighbors, strangers, sometimes even family members, convincing you that loyalty means obedience and questioning means betrayal. And here's the trap. By the time people realize the system they built for protection has become their prison, it's too late. The cage has already been locked. Think about it. Every authoritarian regime in history followed this same trajectory. It never begins with outright oppression. It begins with applause, with people cheering for strong leadership, with people telling themselves that giving up a little freedom is a small price to pay for order. And that's the most dangerous illusion of all, that freedom is too chaotic, too messy, too unstable. Because yes, freedom is messy, it's loud, it's filled with voices you don't agree with, ideas you don't like, and protests that inconvenience you. But that's the cost of liberty. And once you decide you're too tired to pay it, someone else will happily take your freedom from you, piece by piece, until there's nothing left but silence. The fascism paradox is this: the very desire to escape disorder is what creates the conditions for absolute disorder. People reach for control, and in doing so, they lose all control. They search for unity, and in the process, erase the very individuality that makes unity meaningful. They demand safety, only to discover that safety has been weaponized against them. By the time the truth is visible, by the time people realize what's happening, the applause has stopped, the silence has settled in, and the cage they built willingly and even joyfully now has no key. Fascism doesn't start with oppression, it starts with applause, it starts with hope, it starts with ordinary people who just wanted life to feel safe again, and that is what makes it so dangerous. So the question isn't, can it happen here? The question is, will we recognize it before it's too late?